Hello and welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Aisha Subarkash. Last year, Azerbaijan and Armenia were at war over the occupied region of Nagorno-Karabakh. After 44 days of fighting, Azerbaijan came out victorious, liberating several cities from Armenian control. One included the city of Fuzuli, which just opened its first international airport. Built in just 8 months, Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and his Azerbaijani counterpart Ilham Aliyev were on hand to inaugurate the airport. Its 3-kilometer-long runway will be able to accommodate all wide-body aircraft and large cargo planes. Being the first airport built by Azerbaijan on territory previously occupied by Armenia, it will act as the main gateway to a region long isolated by conflict. In 1991, Armenia's military occupied Nagorno-Karabakh, which was internationally recognized as belonging to Azerbaijan. Last year in September, clashes erupted between the two countries and ended with a Russian-brokered ceasefire and large territorial gains for Baku. And to discuss the strategic importance of this new airport, joining me from New York is Fariz Ismailzade. He is a political analyst and the vice rector at Ada University in Baku. And from Yerevan, Richard Giragosian. He is the director of the Regional Studies Center, a local think tank. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us on Straight Talk. So Fariz, could you talk to us about the significance of President Erdogan's third visit to Azerbaijan in less than a year? And was it organized solely for the inauguration of the international Fuzuli airport?
Thank you very much for the invitation. Indeed, it was a very important day. Azerbaijan has finished the construction of a new airport in Karabakh in Fuzuli district. And this airport was built in a very, very recordly rapid times. Just in 8 months after the war, this airport was built. The importance of this airport is that, first of all, it shows that Karabakh has a potential to be the transport corridor between East and West. Indeed, the development of Zangezur corridor, we are hoping that Turkey and Caucasus will be linked via Karabakh towards Central Asia, and Azerbaijan and Turkey will be developing further transport arteries, transport corridors in the region. So airport is just the beginning of that process, and also the road construction, which President Erdogan has started also together with President Aliyev, also important part of that.
So, Richard, now that many areas are opening up and with this new airport, how will that change the region's connectivity? And could this pave the way for more trade, energy, and transport links?
Actually, yes. What we see in this post-war environment is an important anticipation of a breakthrough agreement that is expected by early November in terms of regional restoration of trade and transport. And I think this is also significant for Turkey to regain and reassert its role in post-war Azerbaijan, because we have to remember Russia excluded Turkey from the existing working group on regional trade and transport. So this development, coupled with potential normalization with Armenia, are important avenues for Turkey to regain a seat at the table.
So, Richard, how has Armenia reacted to the opening of this airport?
Well, in many ways, it is both normal and natural. It was to be expected in the post-war reality. Having said that, we do expect a bigger development in the restoration of regional trade and transport links in terms of a positive development.
So far as Turkey's president has repeatedly said the opening of corridors will help end disputes between Azerbaijan and Armenia. In this case, how would the Zangezur corridor's opening help restore relations between the neighbors and revive the region's economy? I mean, what kind of benefits it would bring along for everyone?
I believe that the future of Karabakh region is about peaceful coexistence of both Armenians and Azerbaijanis, and this is possible through economic development of the region. I know that Azerbaijan is now rapidly reconstructing the region, building infrastructure, homes, roads, electric stations, inviting businesses to invest. So this Zangezur transport corridor will be part of the business and economic development of the region. And this will give opportunities both to Azerbaijani refugees and IDPs to go back to their homes, as well as local Armenians to be engaged in business projects. And overall, this will lay foundation for future peace and prosperity in the region.
So, Richard, could this opening hurt Iranian and Georgian economic interests in the region? I mean, what's the Iranian and Georgian approach towards the shifting dynamics in the region?
Well, clearly, this new focus on an East-West dynamic or dimension is an inherent threat to both Georgia's position as a transit state, but also to Iran. Nevertheless, I think this is a net positive. It is a win-win. And equally important was the resumption of diplomacy. Diplomatic negotiations between Armenia and Azerbaijan only last month in a return to diplomacy and what Armenia is waiting for, the return of prisoners of war from Azerbaijani captivity.
Yes. So, Fariz, President Erdogan said if Armenia shows sincere goodwill towards Azerbaijan, then there'll be no obstacles for the normalization of ties between Turkey and Armenia. What do you think Erdogan tried to say here? What are those sincere goodwill steps?
I think that for the first time in past 30 years, we have a unique chance for peace in the region, not only between Azerbaijan and Armenia, but also normalization of Turkish-Armenian relationships, opening of the borders, and restoration of diplomatic relationships. I think this is a very pragmatic and very practical approach. If Azerbaijan and Armenia reach a peace agreement and recognize each other's territorial integrity, then, of course, this could lay foundation for Turkish-Armenian rapprochement and normalization as well. And I think this is very, very possible scenario in the next several months.
So, Richard, why does Turkey insist on Armenia to mend the ties first with Azerbaijan and then Turkey?
I would disagree. I don't think Azerbaijan is that much of a prerequisite, especially in contrast to the period of the protocols. Rather, this is about Armenia-Turkey normalization. So I do think the progress is important, but this is a policy of no preconditions on both sides.
So what do you think are the most pressing issues between Turkey and Armenia?
Well, the most pressing, of course, is Turkey no longer has the political justification to keep the border closed. And there's little stopping us. I also think what's significantly new is Azerbaijan is much less threatened by the outlook for positive normalization between Armenia and Turkey.
So far, what's Azerbaijan's approach towards a possible reconciliation between Turkey and Armenia? And would Russia and Iran be happy to see both countries repair ties?
I think generally Azerbaijan now favors normalization of bilateral relationships at regional level. Azerbaijan has supported 3+3 initiative, meaning the cooperation platform between 3 Caucasus states and 3 neighboring powers. And I know that Russia is also supporting this initiative between Turkey and Armenia. Generally, we believe that this will lead to more peace and more prosperity in the region, as long as all countries recognize territorial integrity of each other and agree on delimitation of the borders.
So, Richard, do you believe there is a suitable ground for that? And what happens if the sides miss that opportunity? Could it give outer forces or other countries a fertile ground to intervene in the matter?
Well, there's always a danger of external meddling, if you will. And unfortunately, post-war fragility and vulnerability remains very current and very pressing. But I do think it all depends on a return to diplomatic negotiations under the auspices of the OSCE mediators from the Minsk group. But I do think the stars are realigning in a very positive way.
Okay, so Fariz, what would an interconnected, unblocked trade routes in South Caucasus mean for energy security, both for the region as well as Europe?
Well, for the past many years, Azerbaijan and Turkey have become very important transit corridors for European energy security. As you know, last year, we have finished the construction of Southern Gas Corridor, and now Azerbaijani gas flowing to Europe via Turkey. And I think that the resolution of Karabakh conflict and the restoration of transport corridors in corridor will further add to the potential of energy corridors, energy security, and all players will win from this, both European players as well as Turkey and South Caucasus countries as well.
So, Richard, do you agree? Would European countries favor peace-building efforts by Turkey, Azerbaijan, and Armenia? I mean, what's at stake for them?
Not just the Europeans, but the West in general. I do see the United States as well offering a productive, constructive contribution. But in many ways, it is Russian peacekeepers on the ground. It is Russia that actually is now having the momentum and the initiative in terms of both diplomacy and on-the-ground stability.
All right, gentlemen. Unfortunately, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining us on Straight Talk.